Ukraine says a Russian strike on a hotel in the Dnipropetrovsk region has killed at least 4 people. Dozens of others, including a child, were wounded in the late-night attack. Emergency crews have been evacuating people from the 5-story building. Russian forces have been advancing towards the industrial region in recent weeks. Moscow also says it's captured another settlement in the Donetsk region. Our correspondent Charles Stratford joining us from Kyiv. Charles, tell us what's going on in that region and the impact from that Russian strike.
Yeah, another devastating attack overnight by Russian forces. It's being reported that this hotel was hit by a Russian ballistic missile. As you say, the latest death toll, at least 4 people killed, at least 30 people injured, including, we understand, at least 1 child. There has been a statement actually released by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He's saying that there was a group of volunteers working for a humanitarian organization, volunteers coming from Ukraine, the US and the UK, that had checked into that hotel not long before the strike. He says that they all survived. They managed to evacuate the building. You can see the pictures there. The impact seems to have been literally directly in the center of the hotel, taking out the roof, the entire facade destroyed. That was one of a number of attacks. Another attack on using a drone, we understand, according to local authorities, on the city of Sumy. At least 1 person killed in that attack. There was another drone strike on the eastern city of Kyiv, Ukraine's second largest city. A residential building there hit by a drone, according to local authorities. 2 people injured in that attack. There was also another attack on Odessa in the south of the country. Local authorities reporting that it was energy infrastructure that seems to have been targeted in that attack. At least 2 people injured in a private home, we understand, which was close to the target site. The military is saying that they shot down 68 of 112 drones last night, and there were at least 2 Iskander ballistic missile attacks, one of which, as we say, we understand, that hit that hotel in Kryvyi.
What reaction has come through, Charles, on the announcement that the U.S. is temporarily suspending intelligence sharing with Ukraine?
Well, it's interesting. Last night we had a statement from Zelenskyy saying that he was confident that things could be put right. We know the amount of pressure that he is under. He says that there have been talks between his officials, counterparts in the US, and saying that he was hopeful for positive results, and we could see talks, direct talks between the Ukrainians and the US, in Zelenskyy's words, in the next week or so. But the impact of this freeze or this suspension of the use of US intelligence could have a huge impact. We've been speaking to people on the front line, commanders on the front line. We phoned up this morning. The man that we spoke to last night said that they'd had no intelligence all yesterday. He said it was the same scenario overnight. But it's unclear as to whether this is a complete suspension right the way across the board or indeed a partial suspension. But we know that US intelligence is vital for Ukraine. Some estimates say, certainly according to the Ukrainian military, some will tell you that they rely on up to 90% of the intelligence coming from the US. It's important in terms of warning systems, warning civilian populations of incoming missiles and drones. It's important for planning and getting locations of Russian forces on the front line. And it's also hugely important for the operation of some of these systems that have been given to Ukraine by the US. We're talking about, for example, the Patriot missile system, one of, if not the only system that can take down ballistic missiles. So it is of huge significance. The Americans are saying that they're keeping their eye on the Ukrainians here, and there is an intimation that this suspension may end if, according to the Americans, they see that Zelenskyy is confident enough that, frankly, he will turn up, or the Ukrainian officials will turn up to talks with the US in the coming days.
Okay, thank you. Charles Stratford reporting from Kyiv.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.